welcome back to this channel. Today I have such an interesting topic for you guys that we will ask tarot, and it's the question who you truly are. And with that, I really go deep. I really want to ask tarot about your capabilities and your true powers that your soul wanted to experience on purpose. You know, sometimes we have character traits that others are judging, and actually your soul wanted to experience that, wanted to experience your personality the way you are, because your soul knew how you should be in this lifetime. And sometimes the things that we judge as wrong are actually here for a higher purpose, you know? And so I always say you can love yourself at any point in time. Of course, your soul wants to develop and change and grow. And that's why I will also be very honest. Please, for this reading, put your ego aside, even if something triggers you today, because it can help you to really reflect on yourself this reading. So I really want you to watch this video with an open mind, with a curiosity, right? And not with, oh, I want to, you know, get my ego pleased. This is not what this reading is for. I will go deep in this reading, just so you know, and I always mention this in my tarot readings. Guys, your soul is here to experience all feelings, and my channel is also here to put you more into your soul's truth and connect yourself more with your soul. With that I mean listening more to your soul. And when we do that more regularly, we're actually not that focused on the future constantly. Especially, we don't have specific expectations anymore. We just fully embrace life. And so it's not always helpful to watch tarot readings in order to get somewhere or to get a specific message. I always say that. Please note that that's not the kind of tarot reader I am. I only read the cards, so they're here for fun and joy. And you can control that. You can control why you watch these types of readings. I want to add real quick, I had an open wound on my finger that day when I recorded this video, in the skin of my thumb. I should have covered it up, I guess, but I really did not think of it. I'm so sorry. And this is pile number 1, this is pile number 2, this is pile number 3, and this is pile number 4. Choose one of these 4 beautiful piles, and without further ado, if you're ready, I would say let's go. Hi, and welcome to your reading, all about who you truly are. So if you're as curious as me, I would say let's go. So we start the reading with one zodiac sign card at first. And please note that this does not have to be a zodiac sign, of course. I just use it as, you know, to get to know you a bit better and to see who you truly are. And I will just take the zodiac sign for the character traits, if you know what I mean, for your character traits. So we got Leo, which is very interesting, my love. I think you're someone who enjoys beauty. You maybe even like to style yourself, maybe even different from others. Maybe you're someone who likes to get out of their comfort zone when it comes to style. You could definitely be someone who likes to play with your hair. For example, you maybe change your hair color more often. Change your hair color? Dye your hair, I mean, more often. Sorry, English is not my native language. Maybe you have curly hair even. Leo can stand for that. Does not have to be the case, of course. There's a general reading. But you're definitely also, you could be someone who likes attention. I mean this not obviously in a negative way, because especially if you, for example, search for a career in the spotlight, this is very helpful because a lot of people are scared of attention, right? But for you, it's not something you're scared of, I feel like, or it's your journey to get less scared of it, at least because I think you're meant to be seen in a way. Leos are always meant to be seen, and they have a lot of charismatic sides on them. So you could be a very charismatic sides on them, but I mean, you could be a very charismatic person. I personally find Leos always very funny. They have a good dry humor. So you could be someone who has a great humor. Maybe you've heard that already once or twice in your life. But you could be, of course, a fire sign. Doesn't have to be the case. But you're definitely passionate. You could be passionate of life in general, or just you could have a lot of passions in your life. You could be also very driven. Fire signs are very driven. And also, if you have something on your mind you want to create, you want to put in action. You're very, so to speak, fiery. You have a lot of energy. You could be extroverted. You could be, it doesn't have to be the case, but you are at least someone who has a lot of energy. So we will dive into the oracle cards that we got for you. So No way. We got the spider. We got the spider for you guys. Oh my god. This is such a fitting card for you. You're someone who loves to create. And I just mentioned you could really be a fire sign, but again, really doesn't have to be the case. But you're definitely someone who loves to create. You have a lot of passions, and maybe even so many passions that you sometimes don't even know where to put it or how to create it. Or maybe you sometimes struggle with finishing one project. You have already so many projects in your mind. You're very multitasking and have a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy, my love. Look at the spider card. Like when you look at, has web, has webs, is webbing. I don't know if you say it that way in English, but you know what I mean? She's creating these webs. And actually, when you think about it, spiders is super, like, this is very fascinating what they do. And you're someone who does this with life. You know what I mean? So you have one idea and you immediately want to create something out of it. So you also probably someone who teaches these types of things yourself. So you see something and you're like, oh my god, I really want to know how they do it. So you Google it or read about it or whatever, and all of a sudden you try it out because you're not scared to try something new, which is, for me personally, the real confidence, the real confident people. If you do that, oof, like that is powerful, because a lot of people want to feel confident all the time and strong all the time, and therefore not stepping out of their comfort zone a lot, because therefore we have to be most of the times insecure first, right? Because we learn something new. But you do that. You're like, I really want to know how to do it, so I just do it. And that's so fascinating, my love. Also, you could be a great manifester. So you have something in your mind and you really want to, like, again, create it. And it's not just that you actually put in action, which you obviously do, but you're also very good in manifesting. I mean, okay, I have to say we're always manifesting. We all are manifestors at the end of the day. Our soul manifests, but you're very connected with your soul. I feel like you have a strong bond with your soul. And I think therefore the reason why a lot of people don't like manifest these types of things is because, one more time, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone a lot, because there we don't feel confident at first and we have to start from scratch. And because a lot of people don't want that, they don't want to leave their comfort. This is the reason why we then want to sit at home and manifest by just meditating. Or I love meditation, don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean, just being at home and trying to manifest by listening to affirmations instead of, doing it. But also, you're not someone who's forcing it. You get the point of it. So basically, you're not manifesting based on fear or avoidance. Because again, we always manifest, means we still manifest even if we avoid stepping out of a comfort zone. Or we also manifest things by forcing, right? We can be successful even if we force it. But this is not making us long-term happy. It's at least my personal belief. This is just my personal belief. And you're not someone like that. You're like, you know what? I like to step out of my comfort zone. I like to do it. And therefore you manifest your perfect outcomes probably faster than others, because you have the courage to do so. Then we also have, I don't want to talk others down, but let's say others have problems with letting their ex go, or letting someone go who's not treating them well, or you know what I mean? You're someone who's like, why don't you do that? This person's obviously not good for you. Like, just move on. You're someone like that. You genuinely, I feel like, don't understand it if someone's not doing that, if someone's not moving on because they're clinging on to someone. And I'm not talking others down. That's not what I try to do. But it's just an example so that you understand what I mean. Because you're someone who's very good in letting go and moving on. Which is, this is really a power, guys. This is really a power of yours. And this is why you are someone who's creating freedom for yourself, internally as well as externally. You're very capable of creating freedom, my love. Okay. Whew, that was strong so far. So what else do we get here? It's the card of leaving. And I just mentioned letting go. I mean, okay, wow. Which is very interesting. Communication. Adaptability. Ooh, green. A lot of green now. Then tolerance. Letting go of blockages. Or healing blockages, basically. It's German, but isn't that a beautiful card? It's a new Oracle deck of mine and I freaking love it. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, I'm very hyped about new Oracle cards. I bought it with my sister who's not into tarot at all. And she's like, Alice, don't you have so many Oracle cards already? And I'm like, yeah, but you can never have enough Oracle cards. So anyways, we move on. So you're so special, my love. I mean, we all are special souls. I don't want to divide here, but I think you really like bombastic when it comes to letting go. Wow. You're really not someone who's clinging on to people, or you don't look like a people pleaser to me. Really, you don't. And you are creating freedom for yourself. Maybe you already did in your life. Maybe you already have a very independent career or you're working on that. But you're definitely someone who needs freedom. You need freedom. And I think you're also someone who needs to work independently or self-employed. It doesn't have to be the case, okay? But I get this freedom with the spider, and then especially with this card. I really think you're someone who needs freedom. And it also says that you're someone who's really strong in letting old blockages go. It means if someone's holding you back in your life or already has held you back in your past, you're really good at saying, okay, that wasn't really great for me, or that didn't really work for me, or this relationship didn't work for me, whatever, or this is something I have to change about myself, so I just do it. You know, you're someone who can adapt. Oh my god, didn't we have the adaptability card? Oh my god, we have the adaptability card. Oh my god. Yeah, because you're someone who's good in adapting into life, and you say, okay, that doesn't suit me anymore. Well, that's fine. Like a chameleon, and it's like, no, well, then I'm changing the colors, I guess. That is so cool. That is so cool, my love. Then we have tolerance, which talks about you having you could be very diplomatic. You are definitely someone who's flexible, who's very open, which I already felt like with Leo, and who can see, this is the diplomatic aspect from you, you can see different opinions. You know what I mean? You don't see life as black and white, you see it as gray as well, which makes you a very good diplomatic person. And that's, I think, where a lot of people like you, pile number one. I think a lot of people like you. First of all, they get this creativity here with her mind being like having so much. Do you see what I see? Like she has the sun and I think is it the Venus? No. Forget what I just said. It's not the Venus, Saturn. Then like the stars and the earth and the moon, and like she has, and it comes from her mind. If you see it, you know, it comes from her mind, and she's thinking about all these things. And this is what I said in the beginning, like you're someone who, you have so many ideas. You're so freaking creative. This is insane. Like the amount of creativity that you have, and maybe even fantasy. You could be someone who is interested into writing fantasy novels, or at least reading those, because you have a lot of creativity and fantasy. And also you are someone who gets a lot of respect. You could be someone who was struggling with respect once in a while, like that people are respecting you because you're very dreamlike, and that can be the case. But I will say in the future, if not even already, people will respect you eventually in your life. I get this for some reason, the shift in your life where you may had to learn to build up proper boundaries in order to gain more respect from others. Because this card also talks about respect for you, and that people really, but I really get from this card that people like you. Like I really feel like, pile number one, that people truly like you. And on top of that, will respect you. Whether they will respect you or they already do, But because I don't know why I get this random story in my head. This can be guessing, okay? But I have to say, I really feel like for you, pile number one, you will in your life eventually create something that is really a masterpiece and that will reach people. And that's why we had Leo going on. I was feeling like you really have to step into spotlight eventually in your life one day. Don't have to be the case, really. It doesn't have to be the case, okay? But I think for, let's say, 80% of you, this could be relevant. That you have, maybe you already feel that you have to step into spotlight. And the moment you do that, you will earn a lot of respect. Because you have a crazy mind. Pile number one, I just have to say you have a really crazy mind. And that will lead you to gaining a lot of respect in your life. And you're also someone who has respect for people who've been through I really hear you have a lot of respect for people who've created a lot, who did not have an easy life, and especially for people who are also as creative as you and made something out of it. I think you have a lot of respect for people who have a very interesting mind. You could be interested into people or like fascinated about people who have a very creative mind. I don't know why I get this, but I think you, especially how she looks far away and looks towards others and has this tolerance for others and is very diplomatic. This is, first of all, a massive quality of yours. But on top of that, she also sees that in others, right? Because she looks, both of these cards, they'll look away, they'll look into this direction where somebody else could stand in front of them, right? And this is just guessing, but I really feel like you could be someone who has a lot of respect for others, and not in a people-pleasing way at all. Not like, oh my god, this person is so cool because, I don't know, they wear this new... Oh, I also hear you're not someone who is superficial. Like, I mean, you love beauty. You love beauty, but you're very interested in people's stories and in the depth of those, of those people. So you could eventually like deep talk, but definitely... I get so much from this card, it's insane. But definitely the way how she looks and both of them look away, it's really giving me that you could be your focus could be on others in order to learn more. I think you want to meet people who have more knowledge than you in order to learn from them. Maybe you even search for a mentor, or maybe you were always looking up to people who could potentially be a mentor for you. Or you went through therapy in early ages of your life. These are just examples, but you learned from older people or you wanted to become wiser from a young age already, which is the reason of why you will create so much in your future. This is really something I hear. Because you're not someone who's just focused on yourself. You're not an arrogant person who says, oh, look at me, look what I've already created. I think you're someone who's in fact very open for other people's knowledge and actually you want to learn from it, but not in a people-pleasing way, which is the best balance we can have, right? Because a lot of people get, a little bit of a people pleaser when they think, oh, this person's better than me or this person has more knowledge, and then, make themselves less worthy. And then this person subconsciously on a subconscious level, but you're not someone like that at all. You actually have a lot of confidence. By the way, I didn't mention that, but Leo is the sign of confidence. And that's, by the way, what I got in the beginning with stepping out of your comfort zone. So you're really confident in the most less narcissistic, arrogant way. Because these days when we learn about confidence, I always feel like it's very, very... It's actually pushing us to become arrogant. I'm sorry to say it that way. This is not real confidence. And your confidence is real. It's really deeply rooted. And for some reason, I feel like it's because you've experienced a lot in a young age already. Okay. Then also we have communication. You're a good communicator. You could be a person who likes talking. And for some reason, maybe even this can be the case, especially also with Leo. Maybe you're sometimes a bit extroverted or just you love to communicate. Maybe you're someone like me who makes long audios to their friends, especially if you live in a country where you also use WhatsApp. Because in my country, where I come from Austria, we use WhatsApp. And I make long audios to my friends and my friends are always like, like basically voice memos, I mean. My friends really hate that and I cannot stop it. But it's like I love talking, especially when I'm passionate about something. This is now very helpful to make these tarot readings for you guys. And this is something I pick up for you. You could be a great communicator, which will lead you to a lot in your future. By the way, pile number one, if someone's saying that to you, please note that this is a power of yours, a strength of yours, and not a flaw, not a weakness, not something bad at all. You're so capable in communicating. And this is a power and not something, this is not bad. I want to repeat this because maybe you've heard that already in your life. For example, you want to do a podcast. And people are like, oh my God, like there are already so many podcasts out there. Like, why do we want to do this? And you're like, yeah, because I like to talk. You know what I mean? I like to talk what I'm passionate about. This can also be, by the way, maybe this is also a little bit of guessing to be fully fair, your soul's purpose. I could make another video about your soul's purpose, but this could be your soul's purpose, that you talk about things that you're passionate about. Like, for example, in a podcast, or maybe you also want to start YouTube, whatever it is. That could be the case for some of you because communication, and one thing I mentioned before was writing, you know, that you maybe write fantasy novels or stuff like that. That could also be the case with communication, right? If you don't want to just talk about it, but also write it down and share it with the world. I see spotlight in your future. Final one. I'm sorry to mention it, but I think you need to be seen because your ideas are crazy. Like sorry, but you just need to be seen. And then also we have leaving. And like I already said, you're someone who's very good at moving on, which is really fascinating. Like, I will say that so strongly because, I mean, do you actually know how many people would want that there's a situation in their life that was really heartbreaking, or a person in their life that was really like important to them, and then all of a sudden, you know, they break up with them, or they whatever, like something's, you get the point of it, breaking their ego, or like hurting their ego, I mean, and you're someone who says, yeah, well, shit happens in life, let's move on. And you know, and you're just like, of course you're hurt too. I'm not saying you're not hurt. I'm not saying you're not feeling pain, but the way of how you handle pain, because this, you have such a confidence, is amazing. Like, I'm not sugarcoating here so that you subscribe or anything. I swear this is what I see. You're someone who's so strong in letting go, moving forward, moving on, leaving people behind. You're like, you know, people come and go, you know, you have that type of mindset, which is, guys, I really have a lot of respect for you already, and I don't even know you personally, right? And then we have that going on, that people have respect for you. Here we go. Okay, now we ask Tarot who you truly are. Oh my God, we got the 6 of Wands. I'm just freaked out right now. I'm sorry, but oh my God. So, with the 6 of Wands, I mean, I have so much to say. You need the spotlight. If you wondered about your purpose, if you already maybe are famous or whatever, I see you becoming famous. I will just say it. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm usually not the type of tarot reader who simply says that. Although we already had so many readings in my past where I got the message of fame. So maybe you felt drawn to one of these readings too. But you need to be seen. And you're also someone, I will say that, who gets a lot of attention in general. That could be people that are interested in you. For example, I also will say, I really don't know if you know that. I have to interrupt myself here for a second, but I just really heard a message that people put you on a pedestal. Whether you've noticed that or not, and that's also the reason, by the way, I think why you will eventually get famous one day, or at least get more recognition. It can also occasionally talk about just people in our environment recognizing us. But with Leo and all the other cards, I really felt this from the start, that you need to be in the spotlight, or to at least create something that will attain spotlight. If you write a book, that doesn't mean you have to be in the spotlight, but at least the book will get recognized, if you know what I mean. And I see you being so... By the way, I think you're a very beautiful person with Leo. I also see you getting a lot of attention from people that are interested in you romantically, where you maybe don't even seem so interested in dating because you're so creative, and you are someone who needs to, I think, or at least that's what the cards are telling me, you're someone who's very, very focused on yourself. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way at all. Not at all. I think you're not someone who's forcing dating. And I really say you have the confidence because I know that people are interested in dating me or hanging out with me. But I need the time for myself. I live in my own world a little bit. You're someone who lives in your own world. You really need that. If you're already in a relationship, of course, that means that was how it was before you met the one, or that you're in general a freedom-loving person even in a relationship, because I definitely see you as a freedom-loving person, even in your dating life. And I think you also, with the Seven of Pentacles here, you could look younger than your age, because the Seven of Pentacles, like with this, okay, the Seven of Pentacles really talks about patience. And this card now, and also with this flower, like the tree, I think it's a cherry tree. I'm not really sure, but basically it represents waiting. So for me, that symbolics is like you grow slowly, you age slowly. That's what I try to explain. And you could look younger than your age. And with the Knight of Swords in reverse, the only thing that I'm hearing that you maybe should learn more, or which you learn through aging, is that you need a little bit more patience. Maybe, especially if you're a fire sign, fire sign people have to learn patience. And so one thing you will be confronted with a lot in your life probably is to learn patience. And I feel like especially when it comes to your soul's purpose, because we have the Judgment in reverse, and the Judgment talks about a higher calling. I think you have a high calling this lifetime that for some reason you keep a little bit under the water, if you know what I mean. So that can be, for example, it's just a random example, fear of being seen, or fear of being criticized or judged from others, or some certain fears, for example, that are holding us back. Sometimes, funny enough, it talks about clinging on to things. Maybe the reason why you're so good in letting go of people or situations that don't serve you anymore is because you've already experienced a big heartbreak in your life, and therefore you're like, you know what, I no longer or no more will hold on to situations or people that don't serve me. You know what I mean? So for example, if someone was breaking up with you and you've been very young and you maybe have been very clingy or very like, I need to have this person, so therefore I will, pursue that person or chase that person, and you've learned from that situation, from this one experience that was so significant in your life, to no longer do that. And that's why we have these two cards, right? The Three of Swords with the Lovers in reverse. I think you had one big heartbreak that was teaching you to never ever do this again, to chase a person, to pursue someone who's not interested in us, for example, or who is hurting us or whatever, or not treating us well, or ghosting us or whatever. And you were like, you know what? I no longer do this. I will let go as soon as this person is not good to me. And that's fine. I think you're generally someone who had to go through a lot of ego deaths, if you know what I mean. The Tower, especially in this deck, is so powerful. I know a lot of people are scared of the Tower, but the Tower actually only breaks apart if it was never meant to last anyways. And so especially when we talk about this one heartbreak, for example, you are someone who says, you know what, if it's not meant to be, then I let go, because I've learned and experienced before that that's okay, because it wasn't meant to last anyways. And that's exactly why you're so good in moving on from situations that don't suit you anymore, or weren't great, or like, you know what I mean. And And that's where you were building up this confidence from. You have the confidence to leave old situations or people that are not, treating us well or whatever, because you've experienced it before and because you probably had a rougher past, or maybe in your early ages. I hope I said it correctly, because in English if I make mistakes, I'm apologizing for that. My neighbor, if you hear this, I'm sorry. But I try to explain that because of your experiences, because you've been through so much already, that's where this confidence comes from. You didn't read it just in a book and then you were like, oh yeah, that's how confidence works, so let's do it. That's not you. You're someone who's been through a lot, especially in your younger years. And by the way, your soul, that's the reason why your soul wanted you to look younger than your age, because your soul was choosing on purpose to go through all these chaotic events very early on in your life, so that if you then learned all of that, you don't look, so to speak, exhausted. That's why you look younger than what you are. And the Judgment card in reverse is really giving me this strong message that your soul's purpose of what you came here to do will happen in your later years, when you're older. And your soul wanted this on purpose. If you were asking that, and that's why the patience comes again and again in this reading. Reason being is because you have a big mission this lifetime, I feel like a big mission. And you can feel that, and your soul knows that very well, because you so wanted to experience it. But the reason why you're so scared, maybe, again, of whatever, maybe you're very sensitive when it comes to rejection, or again, hate or critic or whatever. I see you maybe even being scared of spotlight because you really need to be seen, and because on a subconscious level that you will be seen from a lot of people in your future, and you can already feel that. That's where the fear comes up, and that's where you're even scared to attain it. I think you're someone who needs to be seen. And there are a lot of amazing coaches out there who are teaching that to overcome this fear. But I think at the end of the day, your soul knows your time. And no matter how long you will regulate your nervous system or whatever, at the end of the day, one more time, your soul knows when you're ready. And for you, it will be probably when you're a bit older. And that's also the reason why you look younger, by the way. So also with the Knight of Swords in reverse, I do really see you being restless. Sometimes you maybe even an overthinker, or again, you struggle with that patience a lot. You probably someone's like, why do I have to wait so long? But I really want to do this and I want to attain that. And maybe you're very goal-oriented as well. Or maybe you even want to be seen very badly. And then it's like, I posted this and no one's seeing me and this is not blah, blah, blah. And you get the point of it. And you're just like, chill a second, because I know the timing. I know when you need to be seen. I know it. And that's you. You're someone who can listen a lot to your soul. Although, one more time, you do struggle a little bit with your soul's timing sometimes. You're like, but I really want this so badly. Why doesn't it work out? That's definitely how I see you. I just wanted to add real quick. I was thinking about the Knight of Swords in reverse for a second. And I thought that you guys maybe also struggled in your life with concentration issues, problems of concentrating about certain things, especially maybe also in school or studying, and that really comes from your creative abilities. So Spirit is saying what does help is meditation, so I would definitely recommend meditating, because this is so good for people like you who are very, very full of fantasy and creativity. This comes from you being so creative. Basically, if you felt wrong about that, this is what I'll try to explain. The reason why you have this is not because you're not smart. Maybe you've even been called that way before, like stupid or something, or you felt stupid, but this is just like school smartness. You're smart in a completely different way, and I don't divide that into wrong and right, because people who are very smart in school, they're very important too, right? They maybe become a very good doctor or lawyer, whatever, and we need these types of people too, and that's the beauty about differences, right? But for you, you're not wrong if you wondered. Definitely not, my love, especially you. You're so creative, but you're so powerful in being a creative, and actually a creator, not just a creative person. I wanted to say creative person, but I mean a creator. You create, and that's why we had the spider going on. So if you wondered about that because maybe you haven't been great in school, or because you had concentration issues, maybe you even have I don't know the English word, ADHS. Do you say it that way in English? Where you like maybe been called wrong and like people were judging you. Your soul is saying you're not wrong. And people might, and I will say that now, although people love you, okay, I will say that. But sometimes you can come across as arrogant sometimes. I strongly think you're not an arrogant person. The only reason why you can't come across as confident is because people, and I'm sorry to say it, I don't want to talk others down, but people, especially with the Six of Wands, they are probably a bit jealous of you. And I don't want to push your ego here, I swear. Because if I would see you as an arrogant person and someone who cares less for others, I would say that. But your confidence is real. Your confidence is not intimidation, which a lot of people want. You intimidate people or trigger people on a more subconscious level, on an energetic level. And that's what people don't like. And that's why you can come across as arrogant sometimes, because you're so like really confident. And you are not scared to own the room sometimes. And that's why, because you're meant to be seen. That's your higher purpose. Your higher purpose, I feel like, is to be seen and to create something very, very significant. And that's why you are that's why you are someone who can own the room sometimes. And people are not always happy with that. And you can deal with people that are jealous sometimes, from time to time. Maybe you've already experienced that. So I already said so much, and I think that was a very interesting reading. I just noticed you didn't fully see this card here. Oh my god, I'm just... And now we're actually at the end of the reading, but whatever. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think you're very... I will just say, point number one, you will have a very, very significant purpose this lifetime. And one more time, you will see that all the things, the chaotic things that are happening in your life are happening for a reason, for a high reason, with the Tower here. And you're not someone who is constantly judging that. You're actually someone who needs that, who needs to go through, so to speak, harder times, because you are someone who takes these times and these situations and make the best out of it. And that's the reason why you will be such an inspiration for so many in the future. I really see that for you, pile number one. I'm not just saying that. And the craziest point is we got the rose cards for you, and this crystal is talking about healing old wounds when it comes, like when a heart was broken, for example, which is exactly what we were talking about. You're someone who's so capable of healing, and basically just because of your confidence. Not even because you need specific people that are helping you to go through this. No, you're just like, you know what? That's what happened, and that's fine. So, wow, pile number one, I'm really impressed. I send you so much love, and I hope we see us in my next one. Bye-bye. I already filmed, and I forgot to turn on my microphone, so therefore I have to refilm it. But I got Gemini for you guys. So I will talk about that sign for a second. And I want to mention that does not mean that you have to be a Gemini in order that this reading resonates with you. I'm just using zodiac sign cards to get a little bit of information about you right off the bat. And this is what we got for you. This is Gemini. But one more time, this does not have to resonate with you in the sense of that you have to be a Gemini. If you're not a Gemini, this still resonates. Okay. But what does this tell me about you? Geminis are very smart. And I call it book smart. What I mean by that is like, when you have been probably good at school, or like when you are very good at concentrating, probably you didn't have a lot of problems in school, or you have been a good student in school, or maybe you wanted to go to university ever since you are a little child, like things like that. That's what I call book smart. When you could potentially even be not that creative. That's not what I'm just guessing here at this point right now, but Geminis are so smart that they're most of the times, I would say, not the most creative people. But this is a little bit of guessing because I haven't checked out the other cards yet. But one thing I definitely feel for you guys is that you are smart. You could read a lot, probably. You could also be very funny, because Geminis are very funny, and you're very good at networking. You're someone who can speak with a lot of people. You're probably not that shy, because Geminis are usually not shy, and they can network very well with people. Geminis are always like, they're charismatic. Geminis are very charismatic. People like Geminis in the beginning so much, or they can connect with people so fast because they're very, very charismatic. That's just what I can say. When you think about Heidi Klum, for example, I think that she's a Gemini, and she's just so open. She's just like, you know what I mean? Like, she is a networker. She is funny. Like, that's what I mean. Geminis are very open. And when you think about Heidi Klum, I know a lot of people have problems with her, but she's really just an example. I'm not saying that you're like Heidi Klum, don't get me wrong. But she's also, I personally think she's smarter than what people see. She's a businesswoman, you know, and I see that within you. You're a businesswoman, or a woman, a business person, I mean, and no matter your gender, of course, and very, very smart, but also you're funny, you're open, you connect with people, you're good at networking. So now we will go on with our oracle cards that we got for you. Oh, the bat. And the bat is really an introvert. So maybe you are very funny and charismatic, but maybe just when you know someone very, very well. Because with the bat, I'm definitely getting that you're very, very reflective. You have a very reflective mindset, and that does not surprise me at all, because we have Gemini here, and Geminis are very, very smart again. But maybe you have both sides. There is a mix, I don't know the name of this right now, between introverts and extroverts. And you could be that. So you can, if you meet people and you feel comfortable, you can be very, very extroverted, I would say. But then you also need your time for yourself. Like, you need time to be with yourself, in the sense of, oh, now I need to reflect. You're definitely someone who can do both, I feel like. You can be with yourself, which is amazing, but you also can connect with people. So because a lot of times when we talk about an introvert, or like an introvert personality, these people have problems with connecting with people, or they have to learn it. And when we talk about extroverts, they usually have problems with being with themselves. They need to, do something with others constantly, and you have the perfect balance, my love. This is what I try to explain. And for others who are saying, oh no, I'm only an extrovert, and I love going out, and I actually struggle with being by myself, then this is just a message of spirit to be a little bit with yourself and to be connected with yourself. But honestly, this is not what I get for most. I think for most, this really talks about you being an introvert as well as an extrovert. You're also very good in, one more time, reflecting on things that happened in your life. And one thing I also want to point out with orientation here, you find your path through talking, through networking. And like, this is where your pathways are always opening, if you know what I mean. So for example, you search for your first job and you don't know where to start, and then you talk with someone and all of a sudden you get a job offer or a job interview, and you're like, oh yeah, that's because I was just talking, with people. That's what I try to explain, because you have a charismatic side, my love. And this is where you find your orientation in life a lot. Okay, so now we move on with these cards that we got for you. So we got participate and objectivity. That makes so much sense for you guys. Objectivity. Oof, that is your smartness that comes through. You are so smart. Pile number 2. You've probably already noticed that in your life, is what I feel like. You're so good in understanding things. First of all, on a deeper level, but also, one more time, I call it the book smart, where you know exactly what to do in what situation, because you also have a very good logic sense of things. So that means, like, you read something in a book, for example, and you remember it so well. And then years later, something comes up and you're like, I read that in a book somewhere. And this and that is what it says. So that's what I try to explain. You're so smart, and you probably are a bookworm. You're also so good at looking at different perspectives. and analyzing, like you're so good in analyzing things and also analyzing, for example, people's behaviors. And you know what's interesting also? For your pile, not a lot of cards fell out, because this time I was like, you know what? I don't care how many cards come out. I will take those, because maybe for some people, I don't need, a lot of cards in order to get to the deeper message. And like when you look at it, there's only one card each deck, and I was like a little bit surprised, but then I thought, okay, maybe I will understand very fast who you are, and that's exactly what I got. Like, you're just simply smart. You're a mix of an introvert and an extrovert. You're just so capable of remembering things, learning things, but also being with yourself. And like, I get already so much from these cards that I don't even need more information in order to explain who you truly are, if you know what I mean. But we also have participate. So you're someone, and that makes so much sense for you guys, who can connect and who can be a part of something larger, something bigger. You are probably someone who has a lot of friends, or at least you're very good in connecting with people. You're always a part of, like, for example, a group, or for example, someone's like saying, oh, I got invited there. Do you have time? Because, oh, by the way, Geminis are also spontaneous. And this person says, I still have, I don't know, a ticket for this and that concert. Do you want to come? And you're like, yeah, sure, why not? Because you can be a part of large groups, and not everyone can do that. And that's really a power of yours, okay? I think you're very likable. We got the Empress in reverse, the High Priestess in reverse, the Two of Cups in reverse, the Three of Pentacles in reverse, and the Nine of Wands. Wanted to come down in reverse as well, but also upright, so I will talk about both meanings of the card. So the High Priestess in reverse tells me that you really, and that makes so much sense, you're so smart in the logic sense, if you know what I mean, because you're very logic and rational. But at the same time, your soul wants you to listen a little bit more to your gut feeling, so basically to your soul. And that is because you are, that's not wrong, It's not wrong that we're obviously good in learning and reading and analyzing stuff, but you could potentially you could struggle a little bit with your creative senses, or your, listening to your gut feeling, or being in the, so to speak, feminine energy. Feminine energy doesn't mean you're not feminine. I always call it the voice of your soul, your gut feeling. And you can call it as you want, your gut feeling, your soul. I call it soul. You can call it as you want, of course. But, Spirit wants you to also focus a little bit more on that energy. For me, one more time, it's the soul. But trusting more into the, so to speak, other side would be really relevant and helpful for you. And one more time, it's not wrong that you are that way, and that you are so smart, and that you are so, like logic and rational, but it will help you though to balance that better, because we do have the Two of Cups in reverse. And the reason why maybe some relationship issues came up in your life, and you've probably already experienced that, that's a little bit the reason why. And I don't want to be negative in this reading or anything, because one more time, this is your capability. You're so good in doing things, in organizing things, in analyzing things. And one more time, this is a talent of yours. I do not want to talk it down, but Spirit is also saying, if you have relationship issues, maybe even co-worker relationship issues, not just romantic, I do see it in both aspects of your life, as well as in your romantic, and actually also more friendship-wise, and especially with the Three of Pentacles, which talks about teamwork. You are so good with networking, don't get me wrong, but sometimes people can sense that you rather want to do things by yourself because you know how smart you are, or others maybe even see you, that does not mean you are one, as a know-it-all. I don't think you are, but I think people could, because you're so smart, see you as such sometimes. Because one more time, you have a very charismatic side and you're very good at networking with people. But one more time, the balance for you is key. So there are some good tips out there when it comes to how to tap more into feminine energy and listening more to a gut feeling. And I would recommend you actually, I don't want to praise myself here, but maybe listen or watch, my video about affirmations. Because there I put in the description a whole list of truth affirmations. And these are not typical affirmations in the sense of I'm rich and rich and rich. I already have this and that. No, it's actually connecting you with your soul. And you start to listen more to your soul's truth. And what's happening there is you start to also listen to your gut feeling more often. And I think that can help you to connect you with people that are a bit deeper or who understand you better, because I think you may struggle a bit with having rather long-lasting friends. Spirit is saying, first of all, you can always connect with new people because you're so good at networking. But that's maybe also I don't want to call it problem, but the thing is you maybe talk with a lot of people or know a lot of people, but maybe you're lacking on, like, so to speak, soulmate friendships or soulmate coworker relationships or soulmate clients, because you have multiple people that like hanging out with you or they like spending time with you, who like spending time with you, that's what I mean. But at the same time, you miss this like deeper connection. And as soon as you like connect yourself more and more with your soul, or like also listen a little bit more to your spiritual senses, this is where you will attract these types of people. And also one more thing about Geminis. It can mean, because Geminis are also known for being a bit of a, how do I say that now? Gossiper, like, you know, they like gossip. You have to know if that resonates now. This is not relevant for all of you, but maybe for some of you, the reason why this is happening sometimes is because of this is really only when it resonates with you. You will know it, okay? If the rest of it resonated with you and you feel like, okay, this does not make sense for me at all, then please just ignore it. But maybe for some of you, like let's say 30% of you, like to gossip. And maybe that's the reason why we had a little bit of a struggle when it comes to long-lasting friendships. I don't say that you are, don't get me wrong, that you're a fake person. I don't mean that at all. And again, it doesn't have to be relevant for all of you. For others, it's just really because you're so smart that it scares people away, or that you know, seem like a know-it-all, although you're not, and you're misunderstood. So really take this as it resonates, okay? But I want to be honest, and I want to be an honest tarot reader. That's why I'm saying it. And Geminis are just simply known for that, right? And a lot of Geminis that I know from the past, they have experienced exactly that problem because they loved gossip, right? Not just about their friends, but generally, you know, and drama and all of that. And it can be exciting for Geminis, right? And I'm not saying that one more time you are a Gemini and that's relevant for you, but for some of you, let's say 30% of you, that could be relevant, okay? And that's why I pointed out. And that's why we also have the 9 of Wands. So for you, it's time to really learn to build up proper boundaries, because you're so good, one more time, in networking with a lot of people, but then especially when we meet a lot of people and we trust very easily, or we, you know, network very fast, we can also meet people that are not very healthy for us. This I call it friendship breakup now, or one more time coworker breakup, whatever this was or is, but I think it's a little bit from your past, because the 9 of Wands do talk about pain from the past, and that's the reason why we're nowadays protecting ourselves a lot. So it can mean that although you're a great networker, that's the reason why you also developed a little bit of an introverted side as well, because you want to protect yourself and you don't want to get hurt again. Because with the 2 of Cups in reverse, it gives me the strong feeling that in your past you have been hurt, whether from a friend or someone you've been very close with, or a partner. And now we are in this, like, we're currently developing, or you already did develop, stronger boundaries, but also a little bit of a protection. Like, one thing you're whether already very good at, or something you will learn in the future, is to build up strong boundaries when it comes to people that are not kind to us. because of the situation. This was just there for you to learn to build up stronger boundaries and to not let everyone in very fast, because you're so good at networking. So many people want to be friends with you. One thing I also want to say is that through this experience, you've learned so much. And again, you are so smart. And that's the reason why you took this situation and made the best out of it, and you learned from it, and you said, you know what, this is not happening to me again. So something you're very good at nowadays, or again in your near future, is that you no longer let others judge you for who you are. So if someone was judging you as a know-it-all, you are nowadays someone, or again will be someone, who no longer let others tell you that you're wrong the way you are. Where you feel like, okay, I know my boundaries now because of all the experience you've been through. I know I repeat myself, but I think that's very important for you to know, that you don't have to change just because you are so smart and you are the way you are, and your soul wanted you to be so smart and to be a bookworm, and maybe in the future that leads you to a lot of success, right? And I think along the way of learning that, of learning to set yourself proper boundaries, this had to happen. So yeah, that was it with who you truly are. You're so smart, you're so funny, you're such a great networker, you're perfect, you have the perfect balance between being an introvert and an extrovert. You're such a great communicator. And the only thing that I see that could be relevant for you is really listening more to your soul and to your intuition, your gut feeling, to God, whatever you believe in. But since you watch tarot readings, I guess there is some certain belief you do have. And Spirit is just saying that you should strengthen that in a way in order to feel more, also maybe even joy in your life, but especially also because of relationships. It could be relevant when it comes to finding long-lasting relationships, soulmates, soulmate clients, soulmate friendships, not just with relationships, but to really build up a stronger bond with your soul. And one more time, maybe my affirmation video would help you. I'm pretty sure it would help you actually, because these are not basic affirmations. These are really, you won't find affirmations like that probably on the internet, because others would call it boring. But for you, I think it would be perfect, because it's really connecting you with the voice of unconditional love, which is the voice of your soul, where we love our life in the current moment, and we're not forcing outcomes, we're not avoiding outcomes, and we actually start living life on a deeper level. But you're amazing, pile number 2. I hope it resonated, I hope you liked it, and I hope you see you in my next one. Bye bye. Hi, and welcome to your reading, all about who you truly are. And if you're as ready as me, I would say let's start. So I'm starting with the zodiac sign cards. Oh, okay, Aquarius. So you guys are definitely, oh, by the way, just because I'm pulling out a zodiac sign card does not mean it has to resonate with you. Or, I mean, it does not mean you have to be that zodiac sign in order that it resonates with you, of course. I'm just taking it for the character traits. So you could definitely be someone who's like, I give no, you know, you're like someone, I just do my thing. Like Aquarius is unknown to be really fully themselves. Also confident, like I really get you, I really see you as a confident person. Yeah, this is what I'm getting right off the bat. So now we will go with the oracle cards, and it's funny because we got so many oracle cards for you. This is insane. Like no other reading had so many oracle cards coming up, but I thought I just take it because maybe it's a sign. So yeah, we will dive in. Okay, we got this one, and we got quality. Got a lot of green, so heart chakra energy. Then we have the dolphins and this card. Put it in here. I hope you see it. So we will go with these for a second. I see you as someone who's very oriented when it comes to quality. What I mean by that is like you put quality on top or in front of quantity. But also you're someone, people probably have told you, oh, you're always so lucky. Because this card also talks about luck. And especially because you're so chilled. I think you're someone who just lets life happen a bit. And it's, what's that for a sound? I don't even get it. Okay, whatever. You're someone who has a lot of fun and joy in your life. especially with Aquarius and then with the dolphins who are underwater as well. This is like giving me flow vibes and like literally going with the flow, especially also with this card, with the bear, because you're someone who's like chilling into life, like just going with the flow. You're someone who's so talented to go with the flow. You're not forcing things, and that's why you're lucky, because one thing I gotta say, not everyone can do that. Not everyone is like so connected with their soul. And I say that because your soul is actually, when we listen to our soul, we do actually go with the flow. When we are listening more to our soul, when we give up control mainly and we don't listen too much to our ego, what's happening is that we tap into unconditional love for life. We don't want to have specific outcomes, but we also don't avoid living life, and you live that. And that is, wow, that's a quality. That's really, really a quality. And that's why you're so lucky in life, because you don't force it. You don't force situations. You're probably not someone who's constantly trying to manifest your dream life. You're also not someone who's avoiding life and sitting at home and being like, oh, I need to manifest money now, so I'm sitting at home and try to manifest money, and you know what I mean, and not trying and not actually doing things, because the thing with going with the flow is that you actually go. So you move, you move through life, and you're doing things because you live life, but you do enjoy it because of that. And you also don't avoid, so to speak, negative experiences, because you don't avoid life and you don't avoid experiences. Wow, trust me, a lot of people cannot do this, and you can. And people are saying like, oh my god, like, how did you do that? And you probably don't even have an answer to this. You're probably like, yeah, you know, I just met this person, and then this person told me I should try this, so I tried it, and now I'm here, and all of a sudden this person, you know, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden I'm there. And people are like, huh? I tried years to get there, and you just did it with, like, you know, that's what I try to explain. And it literally says true freedom. Oh my god, I didn't even notice the card. Oh my god. The card says independence from the outside is true freedom. Independence, yeah. But basically not being... that there's a different word in English. English is not my native language, and sometimes I really struggle with translating these cards. But it's basically not being too forced. But it actually says independence. But I think there's another word that would fit better with the translation for that sentence. But basically it says exactly what it just said. This is fascinating me right now. Holy freak. Yeah, because you're not too focused. I'm really jealous right now. Honestly, I am, although I do teach it on my channel, but I unfortunately tap very fast into listening to my ego, and I always have to calm myself down, which talks about, this card talks about that, to be in the present moment again. And that's why I listen to my own truth affirmations that I you know, created, and I have to listen to them myself in order to remember my soul's truth, which is, you know, letting go of control, because I'm also very outcome oriented sometimes. But you have that naturally. You have that very naturally. You could be, by the way, also Pisces, because I feel like Pisces always have that quality. Like most Pisces that I know, they have that quality. So you could be a Pisces, but this is really guessing at this point. But wow, fascinating. So we got, ooh, equal. Another green. Yeah, you're very connected with your heart, with your soul. This is so beautiful. You can listen to your heart a lot, and you enjoy life. I really feel like you truly enjoy life. That's really a quality of yours. And expressiveness. Another green card. Wow, like your heart chakra is so open. Like you have a strong, like, I mean, all of our chakras are strong, but I mean, you have a very balanced, equal, like balance. This card really reminds me of balance. Heart chakra, my love. A balanced heart chakra. Your heart chakra is, wow. Oof. And then we have another green card. Like what? The green is sticking out to me here so strongly. And this is a card of connection. And I think this really screams for me the connection that you have with your soul. And trust me, not everyone has this. You are so connected with unconditional love for life. You're so connected with your soul. You also have, maybe you like nature, because with all of the green, that could be the case that you like nature. And that, reminds me of natural. That can be literally like maybe you like, you know, maybe you focus a lot on nature and like how to support nature, especially in these days. But that can also be more energetically in the sense of I live life natural. I don't force outcomes, I don't avoid outcomes, I'm just living it. Which it sounds like basic, but it's like easy, but it's the opposite. It's really what a lot of people, especially these days, are not capable of because of all these voices on the internet that are saying, oh, you need, I don't know, this dream car and you need that and how to manifest a dream life and blah, 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 especially also in the spiritual realm, right? Where we hear so many times like, oh, you have to have this in order to be happy. And you're like, you know what? I'm just chilling, but I'm also loving life. You know, you probably go out a lot. You're such a, especially with equality, this always gives me harmony vibes. So you're definitely in harmony with yourself and with life. And I mean, how positive is this? That's crazy. And that's why you don't have to worry, because for you, things will always be immediately balanced out because, again, you just go with the flow, you go with life. And that's why because one thing I will say for all of us, life is always balancing itself out because our soul loves contrasts and opposites. Sorry guys, I had to make more space on my camera. I honestly forgot where I was, but basically you're someone who's very, very capable of listening to your gut feeling, to your heart, and this is the strongest message that I get. And again, you could like nature and animals, like you could be an animal and nature lover because you're very connected to animals and nature. You could be a vegan, for example. That's just an example. Or you could have a lot of pets or one specific pet, or you could feel drawn to animals, or you know what I mean? Or animals feel drawn to you. Then we also have the expressiveness and the unit. So you could also have a lot of friends or people feel drawn to you because of that, because the unit is when in this case, I really feel like the unit and the connection one more time with your soul and with nature and all of that, because this is just like the strongest message that I get. But I just see this chakra here. I've never noticed this on the card. But she also has her third eye chakra of awakening because you're so connected with your soul. And I think you also generally have very balanced chakras in general, especially your heart chakra. I'm getting like you're very vulnerable, but in the best way possible. You could also be very much liked if you're a woman and you're a straight woman. You could be very liked by men because with this pink here and the expressiveness and being capable of expressing our feelings and vulnerability, this is so attractive. And so you could be very much liked by men. Again, if you are a woman and straight and you search for that, because I mean, men like different things about different people. I don't want to put everyone into a box. And like, you know, I also don't like this, what people talk online about this high value woman. I mean, there are some things I do believe in, but not the way how people usually express it and talk about it on the internet. I mean, but you have that naturally. You're naturally very much connected with your heart, and therefore people feel so drawn to you. You have a lot of self-love in the most natural way possible. I'm hearing natural all the time, but it's really just you. I think you're naturally very attractive, and you're just so free and happy. Like you're just a happy person, or you're just someone who deeply loves life. And it doesn't mean you're happy every day. That's not what I try to explain, but you just simply go with the flow. And especially you're also capable of expressing your feelings, you know? And yeah, this is what I get for you. Okay, now we ask tarot what tarot has to say about who you truly are. No way. We got the sun. That's so fitting for you. Just such a happy person, and you're also very attractive to people, and you have an inner confidence and radiance, and you really attract a lot of people that are interested in you and that want to get to know you. And you're such a shiny, sweet person is what I hear. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles in reverse is telling me that because you're so connected with yourself and you just go with the flow, sometimes for you, you maybe struggle with whether people that constantly tell you, oh, you need to be more realistic. Oh, you need to focus more on this and that, or on stability. Or maybe you are someone who, you know what I'm hearing? You're not made for regular, I would say, boring, routine jobs that you really don't. If you're not feeling it, that's what I try to explain. Because one job can be super exciting for one person and boring for the other person. But I think you probably have a little bit of a struggle when it comes to scheduling things. Oh, something I hear randomly, you're also very down to earth. Just what I'm hearing. But basically what I try to explain, when it comes to the physical world, for example, it can be that your parents are constantly telling you, oh no, you have to do this because this is realistic, or you have to do that. And you're like, no, but I want to live freely. I want to do what my heart is saying, right? Because you have such a strong connection to your soul and you can listen to your heart so much. But maybe sometimes you struggle with people who do not have that. And you're very unique in that. And then people are saying, well, that's not realistic what you do. Or why are you always so in your own world? But then again, then things turn out to be lucky for you, and people are like, how did you do that now? It's like, yeah, because I was just doing it. But sometimes you may struggle with the physical world because you could be potentially also spiritual, or because you're so connected with your soul, you're naturally a spiritual person. You manifest things by going with the flow instead of forcing outcomes, like what I already said. And that's why sometimes you feel like you miss out on opportunities, although your heart is saying it's fine. Because I feel like your message is, if you struggle with you missed out on opportunities, or people in like jobs that you don't like you because you don't do it the way they expect them to. They expect that, and you're maybe someone who's like so freely in life and just enjoys life. Spirit is saying it's not wrong, that's just who you are, and you don't fit into these crowds and into these places. And it's okay, because here we have so much nature, right? And the pentacle symbolic, basically the opposite, where things are, very like high status and fancy cars and fancy jobs and fancy this and that. And you're like, yeah, but I enjoy nature, I enjoy sun, I enjoy going out, I just go with the flow. What will happen, and what doesn't happen, does not happen. But sometimes in like very regulated jobs, or like, you know what I mean, especially in very strict, when we have a strict boss, or like you get the point of it where things have to be scheduled and like very systematic. Maybe you struggle with that. This is what I try to explain. But then you also feel like, oh, maybe I missed out on an opportunity. Maybe I'm not right. Maybe I don't fit in. And Spirit is saying, no. That's not made for you. That's not where you fit in, or why you haven't figured out things yet when it comes to your career, for example, if that's the case for you. Because we do have the Hangman right next to it. And the Hangman does talk about stagnancy and feeling stuck when it comes to physical opportunities. And so in this case, this can really mean that you haven't figured out your career quite yet, or again, what I just mentioned, like you always feel like you don't fit into these crowds, or like you don't fit into the, you know what I mean? Like maybe you feel a bit different sometimes, and it comes from again, you being so beautifully connected with your soul. I know I repeat myself, but it's just really your message. And Spirit is saying that's the reason why you sometimes feel stuck in life when it comes to your 3D, when it comes to your physical realm. And I also hear for some reason that people like to tell you what to do because you maybe seem naive, although you're absolutely not. But for some people it can come across as, oh, this person doesn't know where to go in life, they don't have a plan. And you're someone who's like, what happened will happen. And a lot of people, I think, in your environment or surrounding try to tell you what's best for you, and you really don't need that. You really don't need that, because they just don't have that quality. I'm sorry to say that, but Because I really feel like you do struggle with that, and you do struggle with coworkers maybe, or people who are very physically, like not physically, but very connected with the physical world, or who are very, very much focused on, you know, social status and status in general, and like financial status, and, you know, everything externally, right? Especially the Pentacles talks about this external presentation, I almost say, which can be great, of course, but for you, you're someone like, "Oh, I don't necessarily need it." Of course, we need money, for example, and of course, you can want things, and you probably also do, but it's not based, one more time, on I need to get there, which is so beautiful, or I need to have it in order to be happy. And then people are probably confused by that, and they're like, well, why? Like, don't you want to have this fancy car? Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? And this is so beautiful about you. And you're also someone who likes learning new things. The Knight of, not the Knight of, the Page of, yeah, the Page of Swords talks about learning and studying. And also, by the way, he's someone who's not a people pleaser. He's someone who's very free, especially in his mind. He likes to explore. You're someone who really, I think you like learning new things, and you like to be in your own world, maybe even. But you can be someone who likes, I will be honest, to maybe even reject people that are interested in you. Because I think what I said in the beginning, you're someone who naturally attracts people who are very interested in you. And with the Page of Swords, I feel like you kind of reject that a bit. You say, you know what, I don't necessarily need that. Maybe you're someone who has rejected a couple of people in your life already, because you're so magnetic, and you know that, especially with all the flowers around her feet. This gives me really the vibe of like, so many people are interested in us that we almost feel like caught and not very free. And you're like, you know what, if I want to date someone, I do it, but if I don't, I'm just saying it. You don't have a problem with open conversations when it comes to rejecting someone, and you're really not a people pleaser. And oh my god, I just noticed I had my hand on my microphone. I hope you guys heard me. Oh. But basically, the Hangman also talks about, you know, making the best in bad situations, like making the best out of bad situations, what I mean, is what I try to say. And that fits in so well for you guys, because you're such a genuinely positive person, and especially with the Sun, which talks about joy, and also like childlike, which is not childish. That's not the same. Childish and childlike is not the same. This gives me, again, feminine, so to speak, energy. If you don't know what feminine energy is, one more time, it's basically the connection with your soul. That's why you can listen to your gut feeling so well. This is why you feel so free in life, because your soul knows that this is just a playground. And when we are very much connected with our soul, which you definitely have, this is your quality, your superpower, we feel free no matter what's happening in our life. And that is you. And that's the Sun. It's representing this like childlike freedom, you know, where the sun is always shining no matter if there are clouds sometimes, no matter what's happening in our life. And that's why you're so attractive. The Sun talks about radiance, and it also talks about us being super attractive to people. Again, also to lovers and people that are romantically, like, could be a potential romantic partner. And we're like, you know what, I don't necessarily need to, because I don't need a partner in order to be happy, one more time. While others desperately try to have a relationship, you're like, you know what, whatever. That's your quality. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope we see us in another reading. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to your reading, all about who you truly are. So if you're as curious as me, I would say let's start. Ooh, Libra. So just so you know, this does not mean you have to be a Libra in order that this reading is resonating with you. I just take these zodiac sign cards in the beginning to get a little, you know, basic information about you, and I just take the character traits of that specific zodiac sign in order to get more information. But again, you don't have to be Libra in order that this reading resonates for you. So Libras are very, very diplomatic people. So you could be someone who feels immediately something, you know, is wrong with a person. You could generally be a caretaker. That means you could even be a parent, but even if not, you're just someone who immediately feels if someone needs something, you always immediately take care of others. If you feel like, oh, okay, this person like, has a problem with this or that, or like, you know what I mean? And I have to say, Libras need to do that. They're not just like offering a specific thing because they don't want this person to feel even worse, but they do it in a very polite, diplomatic way so that it's not that obvious that they want to help, which is the best, I feel like, the best quality of Libra people. And they're usually called to be like, the sign is basically known as the more harmonic person, like a person who is very harmonic. I don't even know if that's English is not my native language, so please be aware of that. But that's what I mean by that is Libras are very, very balanced with themselves, and especially heart and or like soul and ego, you know what I mean? So that can definitely be the case. So maybe you have a perfect balance between the right hemisphere of your brain and the left hemisphere of your brain, and your, so to speak, soul and ego. But Libras are also known for being a little bit sensitive. So you could be a person who's very sensitive when it comes to rejection or critic, but I will ask more with the oracle cards that we got, or from the oracle cards. Oh my god, this card makes so much freaking sense, because this card is reminding us to take care of ourselves, like to take more care of ourselves, and that really fits with what I said about you taking care of others a lot, you doing a lot for others. Maybe sometimes you forget a bit to do things for yourself. It's also reminding us to listen a bit more to our soul and our gut feeling, again, to our own emotions and not just the emotions of others, and to take time for yourself. And maybe this is just a little bit of guessing, but it can be that you do so much for others because you hope that you will get appreciation, and that's where you take a little bit of that's where you take your worth from, if you know what I mean. Like you feel more worthy if people are appreciating you for doing things. Maybe that's, like, because this card is reminding us to feel worthy and to do less in order to feel worthy in the outside, if you know what I mean. I think you're just generally someone who cares for others, which is a beautiful quality. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to talk it down. But again, these readings, I take these seriously, are here also so that we reflect on ourselves. And I think for you, what you should do a little bit more. And one thing I want to say, by the way, you also have a very strong gut feeling. You probably already noticed that, but you have a very, very strong gut feeling. But it's time to listen to that more instead of basically doing a lot for others in order to feel, so to speak, worthy. Again, for others, basically Spirit is saying take also more care for yourself. This is what I try to explain here. Okay. Oh, then we have the Courage card. And the Patience card, interesting. And Gratitude. Okay, I hope you see the cards. You have a lot of patience, which, trust me, a lot of people would love that. So this is definitely a capability of yours. Like, you are so patient. And that fits in perfectly with Libra. Like, Libras are very, very diplomatic and patient as well. And also very smart. Air sign also speaks for, your mind and your brain. So you could be very into reading and studying and stuff like that. But again, you have a balance. You also have a very strong gut feeling. I just want to point that out one more time. That you should listen to a little bit more, but that's just a side note. And then with courage, I think you have a lot of courage. For example, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing different and new things. Like, you're a person who, one more time, has courage and patience. And the cards sort of speak for themselves. But you also have the red and orange and yellow going on, which talks about the solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. So if you're interested in chakras, these chakras are very much balanced. The root chakra, it talks about, you know, being very like focused on stability in your life. So you could be very focused on, you know, feeling stable in life. And also the solar plexus chakra talks about or soul or radiance, again, the perfect balance, right, between the physical world and or non-physical world, where I think you also say 3D and 5D, where you definitely have, again, the perfect balance between both. And one more time, also with the sacral chakra, you have a very, very strong gut feeling. And that's just so beautiful. For some random reason I hear, but this can be just for 30% of you or something, that you might sometimes doubt yourself when it comes to creativity or listening to your soul, but especially also when it comes to your creativity is what I'm hearing. Because I think you could be very creative if you want to, because we have the sacral chakra here. But then there's like so much root chakra here that I almost feel like this is overwhelming, like in the sense of we are taking so much care of others. We're like very much focused in our external, that we again sometimes ignore our internal world, although we have a very strong bond with our soul, right? You have a strong gut feeling. But for some reason, maybe from your past, maybe it comes from your past, but we sort of press that down a bit, you know? And that's very interesting because we again have the balance, but at the same time, we have the message that you should listen a bit more to your gut feeling. And then also we have gratitude. So you could be a very grateful person, which is beautiful because a lot of people don't have that. You could be very grateful for life in general and also for little things. I think if people are doing something for you, you're like super grateful. You probably thank them multiple times and you're like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you're a very, very grateful person. Again, I think this is beautiful. And you also could be very wise because of your experiences. Maybe you've experienced a lot in your life already. And it also talks about personal growth, which reminded me of what I said with courage, stepping out of your comfort zone. Because you could really be someone who experiences a lot in your life because you expand your knowledge by stepping out of your comfort zone and learning something new. By the way, for me personally, these are the most confident people because confidence is usually known as being super extroverted, performative, loud, and maybe even being intimidating. But that's for me not confidence. Confident people are those who are confident in not being confident all the time and not being, so to speak, sure and secure all the time, because that means we step out of our comfort zone, we allow ourselves to look unhinged when we learn something new, and also when we, allow ourselves to grow into something new. And even when you, for example, struggle with, for example, setting up proper boundaries because you like to do so much for others or maybe even please others in a way, that doesn't mean that's wrong. It just means that you're very, very confident in, for example, one more time, listening to others, being diplomatic. Not a lot of people are confident in that, doing the right thing for others. Maybe you would be a great therapist. So this like one box of confidence is for me a bit problematic because that's when we don't allow vulnerability anymore, and especially learning something new, for example, building up proper boundaries, but instead we put on a mask and pretend to be confident instead of learning it and being okay with having a phase where we are not, for example, that good in building up proper boundaries for ourselves. This is just like an example with the boundaries, although it could be relevant for you since you're so good in doing a lot for others, but maybe struggling a bit to listening to yourself. But again, you have a lot of courage and that is beautiful, especially because you're someone who's okay with stepping out of your comfort zone, which one more time is really amazing. I know you didn't see how the cards fell out, but I swear they fell out exactly like that right now. So we will just take them, of course. Oh my God, the 8 of Swords. That makes so much sense for you. It's funny because I mentioned that you could be a person who's doubting yourself sometimes when it comes to, for example, your creative abilities, but it can also be something else where we give up very fast before we even start because we feel like, oh, I cannot do that anyway, And I want you to know that you're so talented and you have such a great heart. And you don't have to doubt yourself at all, okay? And I don't want this to sound negative or anything, because these cards, again, these readings, again, are here to also reflect on yourself. And the message from your soul is to really trust yourself more, because you can. You're very confident. You just maybe don't see that yourself, because you think confidence means we have to be performative, loud, maybe even mean to others. One more time, we maybe even have to intimidate others. And you're always saying, no, being kind is a strength. Listening to others and doing things for others is a strength. It's not wrong at all. And so instead of seeing that as a mistake from you or of you, you can actually see that as a strength instead of a flaw and something that's wrong about you. But it's perfect, it's beautiful, right? And again, with the Seven of Pentacles, it really gives me the vibe of like, we give up very fast when it comes to, like, for example, someone's criticizing us, and it, for example, comes from a place of, this person is just annoyed right now, and we immediately think, oh yeah, that person is right, I did that wrong, or that was not great of me, like, you know what I mean? Or someone's saying, oh, try this out, it's so great, and you're like, oh no, I cannot do that, I'm not good in that. That's what I mean when I say giving up very fast. I don't mean that if you have a goal that you would give it up fast. That's not what I mean. I mean more when it comes to yourself, you know? I mean this more, sorry, it's like English is not my native language, and it's already late, and I'm so tired already, so sometimes I make mistakes while talking, and I'm too lazy then to cut it out while cutting the video, so just so you're aware of that, but you know what I mean, hopefully. But let's start with the Justice, okay? Oh my god, we have Libra Justice. I didn't even notice that. Guys, you have a sense of fairness and loyalty. You want things, and especially people, to be treated fair. And you could be a great and awesome therapist. Maybe you're a therapist for your friends already, or you could have been interested in becoming a therapist. You're a diplomatic person, and you're very good also in building up relationships because of that, because Libra is also connected to relationships and romantic relationships, especially with the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups talks about romance and things like that, but we also have the Eight of Swords here. So the Page of Cups is beautiful because it talks about romanticizing all life as well as actual romance, especially with Libra here. So romance could be like interesting for you. Maybe you like to watch a lot of romantic movies, like romance movies, or again, you like to romanticize your life. Maybe you write romantic novels. You know what I mean? Because we have romance coming up here a couple of times, and that could be just generally a topic that is interesting for you. Because we also have the Eight of Swords, so that talks about overthinking. I think you're a bit a overthinker, especially when it comes to yourself. You could be very critical about yourself, and we have the balance here again between being a bit, like being a lot in your head, but at the same time also having the beautiful bubbly side, being a little bit, because the Page of Cups is very unique. In the original Rider-Waite Tarot, he has a fish in his cup. No one else has a fish in his cup. Means he's very special, and he shows that. He's very open about that. He's like, look, I have a fish in my cup. So he's very bubbly and very like even funny, and just like generally very like, I would almost say in his feminine energy, if you know what I mean. Feminine energy does not mean you have to be feminine. It's not connected to the gender. It just means we're like connected with our soul, and we listen more to our gut feeling. Again, we have the strong gut feeling, at the same time the overthinking. So again, Spirit is saying, listen to this beautiful gut feeling that you have, because you have a strong connection with your soul that not a lot of people have, and you're very sensitive, right? But you could be very sensitive when it comes to rejection, when it comes to someone saying something to you and you immediately picked it up because you're so sensitive, right? Because you can feel people's emotions. You could be an empath and immediately you overthink it, like, oh, why did they look at me that way? Don't they like me? Like, that's what I pick up on very strongly. And Spirit is saying, find more balance also, although you have a lot of balance when it comes to this like overthinking, because you don't need it. You genuinely don't need it. You're such a lovely person, and people do sense that. I mean, the Page of Cups, people love the Page of Cups because he's so unique. And you can show that. Really, you can show your unique sides because you are very unique. And for some reason, I feel like you suppress that a bit. Your uniqueness, because you maybe feel like, oh, if I show that too much, then people will laugh at me. Or if I show that, people will judge me or call me, I don't know, childish. Maybe you're definitely good at small talk since we have Libra, and you're very adaptable when it comes to conversations. But it also comes from a place of, I don't allow myself fully to be myself. I really get this a little bit from you. As an example, this is really just an example. If you're queer and you know that about yourself, but you really don't want to come out yet because you're scared to get judged, you're slowly saying, no, we want that experience. Open up. That's a freedom. That's a lot of freedom, right? You can speak about that. You can be that. You can have that sexuality. I'm sorry for speaking about such a sensitive topic. I hope I do not trigger anyone here, but this is the best example to explain what I mean. But this really doesn't have to be that topic. It can be your funny, humorous side, and maybe you feel like, oh, maybe you aren't that funny if you let that out. Or maybe you have, again, a lot of creative ideas that you feel like you cannot show because what if people are judging that, and so you hide it a bit. I mean, I don't see this like hiding so strongly. I just get this message more underlined because we also have the balance here one more time. And so on one hand, I think you're very good actually in listening to your gut feeling. So you have a great balance, but for some reason I feel like you don't fully also allow yourself to be that because you're a bit of an overthinker and because you're so sensitive. But we also have the King of Pentacles. So that's a beautiful card when it comes to your career. You could whether be self-employed, or you could have a high position in your job at least, or you're very career-oriented and career-focused. And the King of Pentacles has reached a lot in his life. It maybe needed some time, but he has reached a lot in his life. So this could already be the case for you financially, but it can also be in your future where you will be successful. And why? Because you step out of your comfort zone. The King of Pentacles wouldn't be the King of Pentacles if he wouldn't have tried to build this up, to build his palace, so to speak. Because the King of Pentacles is very, very successful, and in order to be successful, we have to step out of our comfort zone, and it's not always easy to do that. And because you have that confidence one more time to do this, this is the reason why you rather will be successful or why you already are successful. Again, you could be a therapist, but you can also be a coach. You can be anything actually. But there's definitely success in your cards because, again, you're represented by the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is also very slow. And so this like slowness comes through in this reading a couple of times. Oh, wait a second. We had the Patience here. I forgot. So guys, actually, it's funny because this card in reverse actually talks about impatience. So one thing I hear, this can mean a couple of things. First, it can mean that you actually learned patience because of your success. Because when we build up such an empire like the King of Pentacles, or like such a business like him, we need patience. And through this build up, you maybe learned patience, or you always had patience, but there's definitely something along the lines of patience. So whether you will learn that in your future and you're currently a little bit impatient, or you already are very patient and that's the reason why you will be successful. So one thing I definitely think is you will be successful because you have the courage to step out of your comfort zone, but also because you had the patience, rather again because you will learn it or because you already have it. I forgot to mention the King of Pentacles is also talking about being a very humble person and someone who's not bragging and who's very down to earth. So you're definitely a very, very humble person who's very down to earth. And you also enjoy life a lot, especially when you feel safe. I think safety is really a topic for you. So I feel like for some reason that can be a topic for you. That doesn't have to be the case, okay? But for some of you, maybe you had a phase, maybe it comes from your childhood and your parents were struggling with money, or you had a phase while you were building up your, so to speak, empire, your business, where you were struggling with money or safety in a way, and that's sort of still haunting you a bit on a psychological level. This could be the case because I feel like safety is really important for you, and the cards are saying you can also let go a bit of this, I would say, harshness when it comes to safety, or like insecurity, not harshness, but insecurity, to the point where it maybe drains you a bit emotionally. So Spirit is really saying you can let go a bit of that, not because you shouldn't be safe, not because it's not important, of course money is important, but because it maybe, just maybe, drains you a little bit. But I get this message again and again that you should listen more to your bubbly side, to your, easy peasy side is what I call it now, your Page of Cups energy. Maybe you also feel like you're more worthy if you have achieved something and you see those like achievements as a proof of your worth. This can be the case for some of you. It doesn't have to resonate with all of you. This is a general reading. But Spirit then is also saying you already have created so much in your life. You can already be so proud of yourself. And for some reason here, you could also, this is really just a little bit of guessing to be fully honest, be scared of like exams, like being scared of exams or being scared of failing in exams. So I wanted to mention that real quick. And you're again super successful because you're just like, you're really confident. And by the way, the kings always represent maturity. So you're also a very mature person. And maybe that's the reason why you don't want to look like a page sometimes. You don't want to look like bubbly, especially if you have clients or like a high business, like, or like a fancy job or whatever, where, we have to be very serious. And like, maybe you struggle with that a bit because you have like such a bubbly, beautiful side on you. And yeah, by the way, you also are very good in making your life, like romanticizing your life one more time. For example, you enjoy these little things, especially with gratitude, where you buy a new, I don't know, shampoo and you're super excited about it. And you're like, oh my God, I just bought this new shampoo and it's so cool. It smells so good. And you're super excited about it. That's the Page of Cups. But then you maybe feel like, oh my God, I'm just so hyped about a freaking shampoo. Why? And then you feel wrong about that. And Spirit's saying, no, that's beautiful. That's, you can shine that. That's beautiful. And again, maybe you struggle with, I really want to seem serious, but you are serious, no matter if you have that bubbly side on you or not. It's beautiful. That doesn't make you childish or anything, right? But you're generally a very smart person is what I'm picking up on. You can really trust yourself. You can trust in your abilities. You can trust in your talents. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this message. You're amazing in conversations, especially small talks is what I'm picking up, but also like listening to other people's needs, being there for them, which is a beautiful quality. Don't let people talk this down. Also not me, but what I do say, you can also care more about yourself because you're worth it. Absolutely you are. And I do really see you developing more confidence in the sense of, when I mean confidence, I think you already are confident in the sense of what I see as confidence, but what other people see as confident, or what other people view as coming across as confident, this is also where you will tap more in, especially when you learn to see your worth, no matter if you take a lot of care for others or not, because this is not wrong. Taking care of others does not immediately make you a people pleaser who's not, who's not confident, because you are confident. You are a confident person. You just don't see it. That's all. But real confident people are those who don't always seem confident, because they're confident in not being confident all the time, because they learn something new. They have the courage to do so. And we literally have the courage card here. I mean, that's awesome. So you are a very confident person. And I think you will see that in the future. That's what I try to explain. You will see that in the future more, because you tap into more like, that's okay. The way I am, I love myself. You tap into more self-love. So I hope you liked the reading, and I hope we see you in the next one. Bye.